I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
And this is for Mark V. One of my thoughts on American History X. Now, first off, if anyone's ever interested in requesting any type of video, movie topic, review, whatever, you just send the request directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. If not, no worries, but if so, thank you so much. Now, American History X, it's a tough movie to watch. It's a powerful movie to watch. Edward Norton does a great job. You also have Edward Furlong. You got Avery Brooks. Very different than what you would see from him in Deep Space Nine. You got Beverly D'Angelo. You got Elliott Gould. Ethan Suplee. Stacy Keach. Great cast. You have a director that he had a lot of issues for the editing. He fought with the studios. He fought with Edward Norton a lot. Kind of how difficult he was. The director didn't get a lot of work after this. I think to this day he doesn't like the edit or the way it's edited. I don't know how his edit would have been. The story of the film is Edward Norton's character's getting out of jail. The principal of the school, Avery Brooks, says, hey, your younger brother, he's following the same path as you are, white supremacist, that type of thing. What are you going to do about it? So Edward Norton's trying to get his younger brother, played by Edward Furlong, away from that crowd and sort of set him straight. And a lot of flashbacks done in black and white about who he was back in the day, the skinhead who just hated anybody of a different race, which resulted at one point curb stomping. This is the first, I do remember seeing this back in the day and did not know what the fuck a curb stomp was until I saw this movie. I went, oh fuck. It still makes my teeth hurt. And him getting to prison, this growing friendship he has with this guy in the laundry room who happens to be black, getting raped in prison, realizing what he was doing was wrong, all that stuff. And even the scenes before going to prison, before that, where one of the big scenes is this heated argument at this dinner table where Edward Furlong and Elliott Gould, and Elliott Gould plays the mom, Beverly D'Angelo's boyfriend. And it's a heated argument about Rodney King and the LA riots and who is at fault. And you watch this film, and sadly, this is a film that came out over 20 years ago, and sadly it's still prevalent today. It's very prevalent today. And I thought Edward Norton did a great job because he took a guy who's absolutely unlikable, but then you see him trying to make amends, trying to be a better person in the present timeline, and Edward Norton, I thought, pulled it off. Edward Furlong, I thought he was the weakest of the cast. I don't mind Edward Furlong. He has his decent moments. I do wonder if you had gotten a different actor, maybe it could have been better. Like a Brad Renfro. Or even a Leonardo DiCaprio at the time, or someone else. Because again, I don't mind Edward Furlong, but in this case, I don't think he was the best actor for the role. But he did fine from time to time, but there were other times, mainly his narration, like this story, this paper he's supposed to write for school. Just Edward Furlong's voice just does not work the best for narration, at least in that film. But I do think him and the friendship he has with his brother, Edward Norton, the two Edwards, they did a good job together. Like, I'm not telling you what to do. I just need you to understand because you're my brother and my best friend. And Edward Norton says that, and I didn't think it was cheesy or corny. I thought it worked well. And then when Edward Norton got pissed and is threatening Stacy Keach, and Stacy Keach, who I liked as an actor, Road Games, Cheech Us Up and Smoke, he plays a guy who works with the white supremacists. And Edward Norton threatens him, you stay away from my brother or I will feed you your fucking heart. And you punches Stacy Keach. That was a cool scene. Part of me wonders how this would have been if it was more linear of a story. Because it starts off with him with the Edward Furlong stuff going on at school. Then he comes on, and Edward Norton's already there. And then a little bit of flashbacks, a little bit of present, a little bit of flashbacks. And then like a good 30 minutes of flashbacks. And then the ending, which is in the present sense. I wonder if that's part of the editing problems that the director was complaining about. If it was, then I can understand. Part of me does wonder if this was more linear. Like if you start with Edward Norton, this human being, and then see this progression of going to prison, trying to become a better person, get out of prison, and then maybe a bit more in the present timeline. Because, for example, I think that would have been good to see a sequence, say a conversation between his character and Elliott Gould's character after the fact, where that scene with the flashback with Rodney Keene, he's saying the most hurtful, horrible stuff to Elliott Gould's character, and pretty much runs him off, even though he's the boyfriend of the mom, Beverly D'Angelo, runs him off. Maybe some type of conversation between Edward Norton and Elliott Gould in the present time. I think that would have been nice. Or a deeper conversation between him and his mom. Like certain moments like that, I think could have been peppered through the present timeline. It would have been, I thought, nicer. And then it kind of opens up a thread that never follows through. Because spoiler alert, it ends with Avery Brooks telling Edward Norton, oh, help the cops. Oh, come on, you don't get me killed, you don't get me shot by a white guy. Oh, help the cops. So it seems as if maybe he's going to help the cops find out who all the other skinheads are, and there's a moment where he thinks a car's following him, and you think something else is going to come of that, but nothing ever does. Maybe that's supposed to be something we're supposed to think after the fact, but instead it's, again, spoilers, Edward Furlong gets killed in school, and Edward Norton's holding his dead brother's body, and that's the way it ends. Definitely a downer of an ending. Shows hate can lead you down a bad path that might not just affect you, but affect others around you. But that's where I'm going, like, oh, what about all the other stuff with maybe that's the point, it doesn't matter, I don't know. I remember I don't know if this is true, but I remember hearing that at one point they were going to do an ending that Edward Norton would come into a bathroom and shave his head again, as if he's going to revert back. But I'm glad they didn't do that, because I think that would have been one step too far. So, I mean, it's... the story itself, the fact that a lot of those skinheads, like Stacy, Keach, Ethan Suplee, they're still out there, even though the cops say blah, 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 but it's okay. Is Edward Norton going to get whacked by another white guy or the other skinheads? We don't know. Like, after the movie's over, we don't know. So, I don't know, just something about that wasn't that satisfying. The ending's a bit bummer, but I mean, you're dealing with pretty serious themes, to be fair. And what does make the film work is the performances, in particular Edward Norton. He's great. And just how angry and vicious he is at the beginning, but then when he's performed, I bought that too. See, I don't mind Edward Norton as an actor. There's all stories about him being a control freak on set, which is probably one of the reasons why he got fired from being the Hulk. Although he's a better Hulk than fucking Mark Ruffalo, in my opinion. Better movie and better Hulk than Mark Ruffalo's dumbass. But Beverly D'Angelo, it was interesting to see her in a different type of role compared to I usually had seen her in the National Lampoon Vacation film. So she did. Elliott Gould, once again, he did a good job. Edward Furlong, like I said, there were moments he worked, and there are other moments like the narration, like it ends with a narration by Edward Furlong, and it's like, okay, it's not the best that it could be. That's why part of me wonders, it could be a different actor, maybe. And to be fair, Edward Furlong, yeah, he was not being that great of a person, but the event that caused this was not that bad of an event that Edward Furlong did. Because at the beginning of the film, it's 3 black kids bullying and beating up this white kid. And pretty much Edward Furlong comes in and blows smoke in one of their faces. Now, granted, not the right thing to do, but there was nothing technically racist about that. I saw it. I guess in retrospect, you say it is because the type of character he was playing is he was been affected by his brother and blah blah blah. But it was still 3 people bullying another person. It wasn't like he said a bunch of racist tirade. He just blew smoke in the guy's face. So I'm like, okay, well, technically he did not do a racist thing. It was, hey, you're bullying this guy 3-on-1. This guy isn't doing anything to you. It would seem to me, if it was trying to make this point more that it was the whole being racist and hate against racists, that you would have added more to that scene at the beginning where he would have unleashed some racial tirade like in the flashbacks that Edward Norton did during the dinner scene. You would think, okay, Edward Furlong would say something in those dialogue, which would further spurn the retaliation the one of them has at the end of the film. So I don't know, something like that seemed a bit weird to me. The idea of making the flashbacks in black and white, I thought helped. Gave it a bit more of a distinctive look visually. The idea of having your main character get raped in prison. That's not something that is typical in a movie. And it's like, well, I can't feel too sorry for you. But if it helped lead you to hopefully a better consciousness, there you go. But yeah, Edward Norton definitely propels the movie. The strong ideals of what hate will bring to you. Because sadly, this all culminated with their father. Because there's a nice scene where Edward Furlong kind of reminisces about how this might have started, where the father was like I think a firefighter or something, and Edward Norton was very excited about this teacher teaching him this stuff, and then the father was talking about all this racist stuff about affirmative action and teaching black literature. And so that kind of started the windfall and downward fall of Edward Norton's character. Then their father died because of a certain thing, and that further spurned it with rage and hate. And then his reactions, Edward Norton's reactions, led to Edward Furlong acting up. And then the sad thing is, by the finale, the tragic thing is that Edward Furlong learned his lesson. And him and Edward Norton are taking down all the swastikas, all the stuff, cleaning up their act. Things are going to be okay. But sadly, it's not. So it's a big bummer. You know, if you know my channel, you know how I feel about big bummers. They're not really the movies I tend to go. Just life itself is one big bummer. I don't need to relive it in a fucking movie. But to be fair, on the other side, it's a very well done film. Again, I have issues here and there, like I already mentioned. Feel free to rewatch the video if you want. But overall, it does make a statement about racism and rage, and I do wonder what the director's original cut was. Would it be better? Would it be worse? I don't know. I don't know. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.